In this video, I'm going to show you how to use mind mapping software to write up an assignment. And the tool that I'm going to use today is MindView. This is available to all staff and students in the MTU. So let's go. So just a simple case of double clicking on the icon, desktop icon, and pressing OK. And then we have a number of options to choose from. And you have different styles. So today I'm going to just choose the default, which is the mind map. Click on that. And as you can see there, the look and feel of this particular mind mapping tool is very similar to Microsoft Word or Office products. You have your ribbon and you have your mind map area here. And then down below, you have your text editor, which is very much the same as Microsoft Word. So let's focus on the construction of the mind map. So from the purposes of a student, probably the most difficult aspect of writing an assignment or an essay is to get the structure. Where do you start? And that's where these particular tools, these object planning concept mapping tools, these mind mapping tools, benefit. So the first aspect here will be the title of the assignment. Now I'm using voice recognition software to derive the mind map, and you don't necessarily, if you don't have Dragon Naturally Speaking or Dragon Professional and Individual voice recognition software, you can still use this tool by typing up as normal. So I'm thinking out loud now. I'm pretending to be a student. Okay, so I have an assignment, and let's assume the assignment will be in the area of a random subject, for instance, a subject that I know quite well, and that is assistive technology. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, what will be the name of that assignment? How about assistive technology assignment? Caps on assistive technology assignment. Now, when you're driving these concept maps, it's important to have them concise. I would recommend having the name of the concept of the topic branch no greater than 4 words, maybe maximum 5. If it's greater than that, those number of words, then it's a description of the branch of the concept and not the actual concept itself. Now from here, I'm thinking out loud again, what would be in an assignment? Well, there's going to be an introduction. Caps on introduction. What next? There's going to be a conclusions. Cap conclusions. And again, what's after that? What's going to be in every single assignment? You're going to have a bibliography. Caps on bibliography. And finally, what will be the final aspect of a template document? You're going to have an appendix. Caps on appendix. Now note here, I'm using a shortcut key, which is basically pressing return on the keyboard. And how do I do that? Well, I just highlight any branch, and when it's highlighted, when I select the branch, there's a blue frame around the particular branch. And if I wanted to add more branches, I just simply press return multiple times. Simple as. If I wanted to create a sub-branch, I simply go up to the ribbon in the home section there, and I press sub-branch. And as you can see, because this branch is highlighted, that is where the sub-branch will appear. And so on and so forth. Okay, so that's just the basic outline of creating branches. Let's delete all of those there. And let's go back to our template. Now you can save this as a template in itself so that you don't have to start off and writing up introduction, conclusion, and so forth. So the next aspect now is for me to think, okay, what else do I need to derive in terms of assistive technology assignment? Well, it's going to be in the context of, my lecturer told me it should be in the context of higher education. Okay, so it's in higher education. Caps on technologies available in higher education. Now, the aspect of this is that it's intuitive. So when you create a branch, intuitively, it naturally should branch out from there. My apologies, I kept my dragon on at the moment, so I will just state that again. Caps on technologies available in higher education. For those that are using voice recognition, make sure you switch it off when you don't want to directly input into the computer. Okay, so as I said, you will have branches there, and they naturally will intuitively lead to subbranches. So for instance, in this instance, I know what are the technologies available in higher education? Well, they would be in the area of caps on AT for literacy. Undo that. Caps on assistive technology for literacy. Okay, so what assistive technology literacy software tools are there? Again, I go and press my subbranch. Caps on read and write software. I press enter again. Caps on Microsoft Word narration. Undo that. Caps on Microsoft Word immersive reader. Okay, so that's all for the moment. If I click back in here and I press enter, intuitively I will have assistive technology for note-taking. Caps on assistive technology for note-taking. Okay, so what technologies are there? Well, there is Microsoft Word dictate feature. So again, I press my subbranch. Caps on Microsoft Word dictate feature. Undo that. Caps on Microsoft Word dictate. Press enter. Caps on Echo LiveScribe Smart Pen. Cap Echo. Okay, what are the features? Let me think there now. Audio Note Taker. Caps on Audio Note Taker. Okay, so I'm happy with the progression of this particular mind mapping tool. I've added structure as I went. You don't necessarily need to know that assistive technology for literacy is a sub-branch of this. It could be here. It depends on how much you understand the concept or the assignment that you're writing. And that's what I encourage students not to be afraid of making a mistake in the structure, just putting down all of their thoughts as they believe it to be true and deriving from there. It's much more easier then when you have a body of work to reiterate it, to change it and to progress and polish it to something that is acceptable. So let me just again show you how to restructure. So if I have it here, this is going to be chapter 1. I want this to be chapter 2, so I simply drag this over here and it jumps there. Now, as I originally had in place, assistive technology for literacy was a sub-branch of technologies available in higher education. I know that to be true. So what I do is I just drag this again back here, and all of the content is dragged with it. And then I simply drag this over here in between introduction and conclusions, because I know that's going to be my chapter 2. Now I'm happy with the structure. The next phase, and just before I jump on, probably the most difficult aspect of writing an assignment is, as I said maybe at the start, is to get the structure right. So here I'm happy with that structure. I have my introduction, my chapter 2, my chapter 3, and so forth. And again, it can grow from there. The next stage is to fill the body. And in essence, that really writes itself, because you as a student, or the person composing the document, would know about the various aspects. And if you don't, again, whatever you do know, just write it down in a manner that you can understand yourself, and, as I said, polish and reiterate it as you go. Now, in this section, as I suppose the methodology of writing reports, you never write the introduction first and the conclusions last. Sorry, you never write the introduction first or the conclusions. You do those lastly. But for the purposes of this assignment, I'm going to do them first. Now, here I'm going to click on Introduction, and then I simply navigate down to the editor. And if I just move that over here, like this, now I'm inside an introduction, and now I click inside the text editor, and I'm going to start writing for that particular branch. So again, it's going to be free-flowing. You don't need to be too concerned about getting every single word right. What I want, again, as I said, is to reiterate, get something up and running, and from there, polish. Okay, so what am I going to say? Well, I'm going to think out loud. Cap, the purpose of this assignment is to outline the various assistive technologies available, full stop, in particular in regards to technologies in higher education, full stop. These would include Microsoft Word Dictate, comma, the Echo LiveScribe Smart Pen, and Audio Note Taker, full stop. These particular items outlined previously would be in regards to assistive technology for note taking, full stop. I will also be touching upon assistive technology for literacy, which will include read and write software, comma, Microsoft Word, Immersive Reader, and so forth, full stop. I will then outline my conclusions, full stop. Now I just click inside here then, and I progress on to the next chapter. The technologies available in higher education are quite wide and diverse. Full stop. These would include assistive technology for note-taking, as well as technology for literacy. Full stop. The following subsections outline these. Full stop. Assistive technology for note-taking is quite innovative. Full stop. Some of these would include recording devices, which would enable the recording of the lecture or the meeting. Full stop. It is of particular benefit to those students that have had difficulty in taking notes. Full stop. And then I progress to the sub-branch. I go into Microsoft Word Dictate. Microsoft Word Dictate is an innovative new feature within Microsoft Office 365, which enables users to dictate their documents, full stop. As well as that, you can use this to record class, whereby, with the benefit of having an external microphone, you can record your teacher in real time and transcribe it into your Microsoft Word document, full stop. It is free to those that have a license for Microsoft Office 365, full stop. Now, I'm not going to progress any further, but you can see the process there. It's very straightforward. You're just jumping in and populating the notes for each one of those. And again, as well as that, you can incorporate text or images as well. So for instance, if I wanted to put an image in here, I want to put in an image from Microsoft Word Dictate. So I'm going to search the internet for that. Search the web for Microsoft Word Dictate. And again, that's a command that I'm using with my external independent software, which is Dragon. So basically here I've done a Google search. I have found images there. And I click on this image. I go over here. I right click and I say Save Image As. And ideally, if you save this into a place, call it Images. I'm going to save it on the desktop. New folder, Images. And as a general rule of thumb, what I do is I name them in numerical order. Now, just a word of caution in regards to this particular image. It's not suitable because it's not a JPEG format. So I'm going to cancel that. And I'm going to find another image that may be suitable. Let me see there. Is that a JPEG? Yes, it is. So that's a JPEG there. And as I said, you save it inside in your newly created folder, Images. And again, for naming conventions, I usually do them in sequence. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Now going back over into my mind map. Where am I at the moment? I'm in Microsoft Word Dictate. And I want to put that image here. So I click on the icon. And then I go to up into the ribbon, and it's under Edit, and it is the Insert Picture. And I click on my images, and there we are. So there's my image incorporated in. Now can I change that? Yes, I can manually change that down there to a more acceptable size. And as well as that, I can incorporate referencing as well. So if I go back into here and I want to incorporate a reference, for instance, I wanted to put it here, I simply go to back up to my ribbon, and there we are, citation. So if I press citation, insert citation. Now where are my sources? I don't have any sources at the moment. So if I go to manage sources, add new. Now this is probably another video tutorial in itself, but just to give you an overview, a brief overview. If I type in caps on Microsoft Word, caps on Microsoft Word. There we are. I just choose this one here. And I can populate this with other aspects if I so wish. I'll leave it for the moment. Now I have one reference. And there we are. It's in my existing sources now. So if I cancel this and press it again, insert citation, and there we are. And if I press insert, it's going to insert it here. And there we have it. So there's my reference, and it incorporates it at the end of the document as well. Now, I want to see, let's assume I continue on and progress to have a final draft, have an initial draft complete, and I'm happy with that. I want to see what it's like. So what I would do is I would go up and I would press File, and then I would press Export, and then I would press Microsoft Word, Advanced. And then I would choose a word template. Now what I like is the standard. So I choose that. Then I go into general. Am I going to include the map image? No, it's really just a bit of, when I say map image, do I want to include that map image in my document? For the purposes of this particular presentation, no, but for you, perhaps it may be important if you're in high school or secondary school to show your teachers how you derived your document. But for the purposes of this, I'm going to untick. I'm going to leave everything else as it is. Branch level, I'm going to change that to level 5, so branches and sub-branches. And that's basically it. So I am going to include a bibliography and press export. And I'm going to create a new file, a new folder, and that's going to be Word Drafts. And again, you're going to have innumerable drafts of your document. This is going to be the first draft. And what I usually do is I change that to V1 as indicating the first draft. So I press save. It does its magic. I press open document. And if I jump over here on the other window, it's asking me the document contains fields. I press yes. I press OK. And there we have our first draft in Microsoft Word. There we are, with our table of our chapter heading, table of contents, and if we scroll down, you can see the chapter now as well as the text. Now, as you can see, there are a number of grammatical errors, shall we say. Some of them have been picked up with Microsoft Word Editor. And what I suggest you do is, for the purposes of this, is that you never ever, well, in terms of a convention, a working convention, never edit the document here. Always edit it in the mind map. Now, for the purposes of this example, as you can see, there are some issues there. So it's giving a suggestion. The grammar checking tool will give a suggestion, gives a suggestion that I change this. So I'm going to change it to what it's suggesting. And as you can see, there's an extra space here. And again, I click on that and I change that. And again, it's giving another suggestion. I'll be happy with that. And what I can do then is, again, I leave it as it is. I highlight this. I press copy. And then I go back into my mind map. I click on introduction. There we are. And then I select all and paste. And then I save. Now, because I haven't saved this before, you can save it to a location, but I'm not going to save that. Now, if I jump back in again there, and I continue through to see any spelling or grammar mistakes, and so on and so forth, and then I do the changes again. Now, alternatively, you can just ignore those changes for the moment and do it on the last iteration. So there's two options: to do it as you go, or to wait until it's the final draft. It's up to you. There's advantages and disadvantages to both. But that is basically it. That's an outline of how to derive a mind map, how to incorporate images into the mind map. And let me just go back there just to show you the image. So if I scroll down, there is the image. It's just a simple case of resizing that. And there you have it. So as I said, that is the end of this video tutorial, which outlines how to use MindView, mind mapping software, in order to derive an assignment. Now, one thing I will say to you is that the core concepts of what I've shown you here can be transferable to any mind mapping tool. You're going to have the same aspect of creating a mind map, but in a different way. You're going to have at a higher level an opportunity to export in different ways, but it's the same principle, just maybe slightly different. And you're going to have the option to incorporate images and so forth. So again, once you get the core understanding of how to use the mind map, it will significantly speed up the process of writing assignments and also editing them. And basically that is it. That is the end of this video tutorial, and thank you for watching.